Thanks, Jenna. Winnipeg Free Press reporter Bartley Kives joining us now to talk about some of the things making news in the city. Lots of skeeter talk this week.
Lots of skeeter talk. As everyone knows, we've been fogging in Winnipeg, and technically not fogging, but misting. It's a technical term, misting. It sounds like you're taking the mosquitoes to the spa. Fogging for the first time since 2010, and now it's off right now because the mosquito counts are down. But it's really fascinating because they have this policy in place that Winnipeggers a lot are familiar with. You know, you have to have a citywide average of 25 mosquitoes in the trap count and one quadrant of 100 or more, and that's just kind of a policy to prevent the politicians from stepping in and freaking out and ordering the bug control people to just spray whenever people start complaining about bugs.
Right. We want to talk about the buffer zones, though, because a lot of people, hundreds of people, were upset when they started misting and did not want it around their homes. But there's going to be a point, possibly, where they don't have that option.
Exactly. Like right now, the city is spraying for nuisance mosquitoes, mostly the species called Aedes vexans. It's a big biter. It's the one that hurts. Later in the summer, there's a sneakier mosquito called Culex tarsalis. You usually or often don't feel it biting. That's the one that is called a vector. It carries West Nile virus to human beings. It transmits other diseases potentially to human beings. If the province, not the city, orders for health reasons a West Nile virus control program to kill Culex tarsalis, you don't get a choice. There's buffer zones, or nope, you can't have a buffer zone. They are eliminated and they're going to fog wherever they want.
So we'll have to wait and see if more fogging is underway, but they called it off last night because of the low count, so we'll have to wait and see if they repopulate, which I'm sure they will.
And it depends on the weather, and I want to just tell people one thing, in that this adult nuisance mosquito fogging is largely cosmetic. It kills bugs for a day, maybe a couple days. It makes people feel like the city's doing something, but after that, it's really just just makes people feel good.
It does. At least you feel like they're gone.
Yeah, but they're not.
Mentally, it's half of it. All right, moving on, we want to get an update on the pet bylaw.
Yes, that's moving ahead to Executive Policy Committee this morning, would go to Council next week. And one little tiny part of it that's kind of interesting is the snakes.
Ooh.
Yes. Pet owners who collect snakes, and there are a few of them, are kind of upset that this bylaw still needs to be tweaked further, and it may not be. Originally, they were really upset because the city just said, here's an improved list of reptiles you can have. And they're like, well, that's great, but that's not a very long list. So then the city came back and said, well, here's some families you can have and you can't have, depending on the length. And they're like, well, there are some types of little boas and smaller pythons that are docile and that I've had for a long time, so what's the big deal? So they are still upset, and it will be interesting to see whether or not that can be changed. The city may just simply grandfather all the existing pets, because you don't hear a lot of complaints about snakes unless it's on a flooded GO train in Toronto.
Right, we had that one pop up in the dumpster.
Yes.
In the fall, yeah. But for the most part, they are safe and secure inside people's homes, and they're taking care of them.
The kind of person who's going to want a very, very high-intensive pet is probably going to do a lot of research. There are jerks out there that ruin it for everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're going to go out there and get some unusual pet, you're probably going to want to take care of it.
And of course, the pet bylaw, that's also the component of licensing cats in the city.
Exactly. And again, if this will go through next week, then maybe it will be in effect as soon as August, as soon as September, but we will see.
All right, we will wait and see. Thank you so much, Bartley. We look forward to having you back in a couple weeks.
Yes, no pets with me, though.
No cats. We're taking a quick break here on PT. Stay with us.